Hey, this is Nick Moke for Digital Trends. You know, we get a lot of thin and light laptops through the doors here at the Digital Trends labs, but I think this one pretty much takes the cake at the moment. This is the Sony Vaio X Series. It's a $1,300 laptop from Sony. Obviously very, very small. It weighs 1.5 pounds. It measures about 1/2 inch thick. However, at $1,300, it's also a very pricey laptop, and it has netbook hardware, which is, something you can get in a notebook that's about 400 bucks. So we're going to take a closer look here and see whether this is really a hyped up toy or whether this is actually a viable candidate for people who do a lot of traveling. So we'll start off here with a few things we really liked about the Vaio X Series. The first thing is it's impossible to get over how incredibly thin and light this thing really is. Like I mentioned, 1.5 pounds of just about 1/2 inch thick. It's really phenomenal. Sony had to use carbon fiber to actually get it this thick, and I think that accounts for a lot of the $1,300 price tag. It does leave it a little bit wobbly, but we think it's actually pretty durable. Another thing we really like about it, it's running, if you can see here, the full version of Windows 7. Typically when you actually get these tiny netbooks, they're running Windows XP. This is obviously a much higher end version of that, but it's nice to have a full desktop operating system, the full latest version of Windows. Also, this screen is extremely high resolution for this size. It's only an 11-inch screen, but the resolution is actually 1366 by 768. Now that's a resolution that you can find on screens all the way up to about 16 inches, which actually means that this screen, tiny as it is, you might have to squint a little bit to see it, is actually kind of giving you the real estate of a much larger laptop, which we think is great in a portable this size. And that's something that, even though the hardware in here is sort of netbookish, that's something you really won't find on very many other netbooks. A few things we did not like about the Vaio X Series. Obviously that price tag. $1,300 is a lot for a laptop of this size, and ultimately it's running hardware that's very similar to one of these $400 netbooks. I mean, there's an Atom processor in there. It's running at 2 gigahertz, which is a little bit faster than the 1.6 gigahertz you'll usually find in a more affordable netbook, but the processing, I mean, the speed is not that different, and when you're actually using this thing, it feels like a netbook. It does sort of choke on video and stuff like that. So you're not going to be able to do that many things with this that a netbook can't. It's not much of a step up. The other big concern with this thing is battery life. As it is right now with this flush mounted battery, you're going to get about 2 hours of battery life out of it. Now it does actually come with an extended battery that's good for about 10 hours, but that makes it quite a bit chunkier as well. It sort of loses some of its appeal. So it's nice that they included that, but realistically, if you want this thing to shine, if you want to use it as intended, you're going to get about 2 hours, which is kind of dismal if you want to take it very far. So that's another point to consider. So ultimately, I think the thing to consider with the Sony Vaio X Series is what price can you put on style? It's a $1,300 notebook, but really a $1,300 netbook. Personally, I would go for the $400 version. I would be much happier with a slightly fatter Asus. But my boss loves this thing. It's $1,300, but to him, that's a perfectly acceptable price to pay for something that's this sleek, this stylish, and ultimately this unique, because you're not going to see this thing everywhere. And that about wraps it up.